Hello everybody, my name is Mr. Mondial, and welcome to the first ever episode of Alternate Futures, the show where I go over the what-ifs of the amusement industry. And in this episode, I'm going to be going over my predictions for LeSourdsville Lake's 10-year plan if it hadn't closed. Part 1, Background Information. LeSourdsville Lake was a small amusement park northwest of Kings Island in a town named Monroe, Ohio. It had 3 coasters and was open from 1922 until 1999 and briefly opened for the 2002 season, but it closed early for the season and never reopened its doors. However, in this video, I'm going to be turning back the clock and going into an alternate timeline where the park didn't close, and I'm going to be going over every single year up until 2013. And just for a quick disclaimer, this video is going to be under the assumption that the park had a new owner, as the owner for the 2002 season did not invest very much into the property. Alright, with that out of the way, let's jump straight into the video. Part 2, 10-year plan. Starting off, for the 2003 season, I predict that LeSourdsville Lake would add Halloween and Christmas events. This would help the park make more money during the seasons that they weren't normally open. This extra cash would allow them to add more attractions in the upcoming years. After a fantastic 2003 season, I predict that in the 2004 season, the park would invest in multiple small-scale kids' flat rides. These would replace some of the more outdated ones in the Kids World section of the park. After this, for the 2005 season, I predict that LeSourdsville Lake would buy the land across the train tracks in front of the park that was formerly occupied by Fantasy Farm, a small amusement park which closed in 1991. And they would use this land for an expansion later on. Alright, and for the 2006 season, I predict that the park would have gotten a Zamperla spinning Wild Mouse to replace their SDC Galaxy named the Serpent. This addition would mark the park's first coaster since they opened the Serpent back in 1989. After a fantastic 2006 season, I predict that the 2007 season would see the Kids World section of the park relocated across the train tracks to the land formerly occupied by Fantasy Farm. This relocation would see multiple new kids' flat rides, midway games, and restaurants, and would free up land in the main park for the 2008 edition. For the park's 2008 season, I believe that LeSourdsville Lake would have gotten a brand new water park in the land formerly occupied by the original Kids World. Before this, the only water attractions that the park had was a swimming pool and a children's splash pad. This new water park would draw huge crowds from the nearby neighborhoods that were being built at a rapid pace at this time. After these amazing years of park additions, I believe that the park would have taken the 2009 season to add some paint to the park's older rides, repave and expand the parking lot to deal with the increased crowds, as well as re-track and repaint the Screeching Eagle, which was the park's classic out-and-back wooden coaster. After the break from the additions during the 2009 season, I predict that the park would come back strong for the 2010 season by purchasing the recently SBNO Aero Shuttle Loop Afterburner from Fun Spot in Indiana, after the park had permanently closed for the 2008 season. This would have been the park's first launch coaster and it would really help improve the park's lineup. I believe this attraction would have been placed on the trail that went from the front of the park to the Loggers Run section of it. To follow up the thrilling coaster that they added for the 2010 season, I predict that the park would go in a more family-oriented direction by adding a family gravity group coaster for the 2011 season. This ride would be placed in the relocated Kids World section of the park and would make a fantastic addition to the park's lineup. After this addition, during the 2012 season, I predict that the park would have replaced their pirate ship attraction with a Zamperla Giant Discovery for their 90th season. This would be a great fit in their lineup and would mark the first large-scale thrill ride that the park added since 2002. And finally, for the 2013 season, I predict that the park would have added an interactive shooting dark ride in the Kids World section of the park. This would be the park's first dark ride since the haunted house closed around 1988 and would really help flesh out the park's lineup. Alright, that's going to wrap it up for this video. Thank you all very much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.